يا أيها الذين آمنوا ليبلونكم الله بشيء من الصيد تناله أيديكم ورماحكم ليعلم الله من يخافه بالغيب فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم.
Believers, Allah will surely try you with a game which will be within the range of your hands and lances so that He might mark out those who fear Him, even though He is beyond the reach of human perception. A painful chastisement awaits whosoever transgresses after that the bounds set by Allah.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقتلوا الصيد وأنتم حرم ومن قتله منكم متعمدا فجزاء مثل ما قتل من النعم يحكم به ذوى عدل منكم هديا بالغ الكعبة أو كفارة طعام مساكين أو عدل ذلك صياما ليذوق وبال أمره عفى الله عما سلف ومن عاد فينتقم الله منه والله عزيز ذو انتقام.
Believers, do not kill game while you are in the state of pilgrim sanctity. Whoever of you kills it willfully, there shall be a recompense, the like of what he has killed in cattle, as shall be judged by 2 men of equity among you, to be brought to the Kaaba as an offering, or as an expiation, the feeding of the needy, or its equivalent in fasting, in order that he may taste the grievousness of his deed. Allah has pardoned whatever has passed, but Allah will exact a penalty from him who repeats it. Allah is Almighty. He is fully capable of exacting penalties. Believers, do not kill game while you are in the state of pilgrim sanctity. When a person is in the state of pilgrim sanctity, ihram, it is prohibited for him both to hunt and to assist in hunting animals. Indeed, even if an animal has been hunted for him by someone else, he may not eat it. However, if someone hunts an animal for himself and makes a gift of it to such a person, there is no harm in his eating it. There is an exception to this injunction, and that is with regard to harmful animals. Snakes, scorpions, mad dogs, and other such animals which cause injury to man may be killed even by one in the state of ihram. To be brought to the Kaaba as an offering, or as an expiation, the feeding of the needy, or its equivalent in fasting. It would also be 2 men of equity, Surah Al-Maidah 595, to judge as to the number of persons one should feed or the number of days one should fast by way of expiation for killing a certain animal.
أحل لكم صيد البحر وطعامه متاعا لكم وللسيارة وحرم عليكم صيد البر ما دمتم حرما واتقوا الله الذي إليه تحشرون.
The game of the water and eating thereof are permitted to you as a provision for you who are settled and for those on a journey. But to hunt on land while you are in the state of pilgrim sanctity is forbidden for you. Beware then of disobeying Allah, to whom you shall all be mustered. The game of the water and eating thereof are permitted to you as a provision for you. Since one often runs out of provisions during a voyage and is left with no alternative but to catch sea creatures, fishing in the sea has been made lawful.
جعل الله الكعبة البيت الحرام قياما للناس والشهر الحرام والهدي والقلائد ذلك لتعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وأن الله بكل شيء عليم.
Allah has appointed the Kaaba, the sacred house, as a means of support for the collective life of men and has caused the holy month of pilgrimage and the animals of sacrificial offering and their distinguishing collars to assist therein. This is so that you may know that Allah is aware of all that is in the heavens and all that is in the earth, and that Allah has knowledge of everything, and the animals of sacrificial offering and their distinguishing collars to assist therein. In Arabia, the Kaaba was not merely a sacred place of worship. Thanks to its central position and its sanctity, it nurtured the economic and cultural life of the whole peninsula. Since the entire populace was drawn towards the Kaaba for the performance of Hajj and Umrah, their coming together brought about a measure of unity in the life of the Arabs, which was otherwise rent with disunity. This enabled the people of various regions and tribes to establish social and cultural ties among themselves. Moreover, the security which reigned in the vicinity of the Kaaba provided an impetus to creative literary activity, with the result that in the fairs held in the sacred territory, poets placed their poetic compositions before the audience, trying to excel one another. This led to the growth and flowering of their language and literature. Thanks again to the peace and security which reigned in the sacred territory, it became a major center of trade and commerce. Moreover, since certain months of the year were regarded as sacred months in which there could be no bloodshed, the Arabs enjoyed peace and security for about a quarter of the year. It was during this period that caravans moved in freedom and with ease from one end of the peninsula to the other. The custom of consecrating animals for sacrifice, marked off from others by the collars around their necks, also facilitated the movement of caravans. For whenever the Arabs saw those animals with their collars signifying consecration for sacrifice, they bent their heads in reverence, and no predatory tribe had the courage to molest them. And that Allah has knowledge of everything. Were they to consider even the social and economic aspects of the life of their people, the existing arrangements would provide them with clear testimony to the fact that God has deep and thorough knowledge of the interest and requirements of His creatures, that He can ensure immensely beneficial effects on many sectors of human life by just one single commandment. During the several centuries of anarchy and disorder which preceded the advent of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the Arabs were themselves unaware of their own interests and seemed bent upon self-destruction. God, however, was aware of their needs and requirements, and by merely investing the Kaaba with a central position in Arabia, He ensured their national survival. Even if they disregarded innumerable other facts and reflected on this alone, they would become convinced that the injunctions revealed by God were conducive to their well-being, and that underlying them were a great many benefits and advantages for them, which they themselves could neither have grasped nor achieved by their own contriving.
اعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب وأن الله غفور رحيم.
Know well that Allah is severe in retribution, and that Allah is also all-forgiving, all-compassionate.
ما على الرسول إلا البلاغ والله يعلم ما تبدون وما تكتمون.
The messenger is bound only to deliver the message, whereafter Allah knows well all that you disclose and all that you conceal.
قل لا يستوي الخبيث والطيب ولو أعجبك كثرة الخبيث فاتقوا الله يا أولي الألباب لعلكم تفلحون.
O Messenger, say to them, the bad things and the good things are not equal, even though the abundance of the bad things might make you pleased with them. Men of understanding, beware of disobeying Allah, then maybe you will attain true success. Even though the abundance of the bad things might make you pleased with them. This verse enunciates a standard of evaluation and judgment quite distinct from the standards employed by superficial people. For the latter, for instance, $100 are worth more than $5, since 100 is more than 5. But according to this verse, if those $100 have been earned in a matter entailing the disobedience of God, the entire amount becomes unclean. If, on the contrary, a man earns $5 while obeying God, then this amount is clean, and anything which is unclean, whatever its quantity, cannot be worth that which is clean. A drop of perfume is more valuable than a heap of filth. A palmful of clean water is much more valuable than a huge cauldron brimming with urine. A truly wise person should therefore necessarily be content with whatever he acquires by clean, permissible means, however small and humble its quantity may be. He should not reach out for what is prohibited, however large in quantity and glittering in appearance.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم وإن تسألوا عنها حين ينزل القرآن تبد لكم عفى الله عنها والله غفور حليم.
Believers, do not ask of the things which, if made manifest to you, would vex you. For if you should ask about them while the Quran is being revealed, they will be made manifest to you. Allah has pardoned whatever happened in the past. He is all forgiving, all forbearing. Believers, do not ask of the things which, if made manifest to you, would vex you. People used to ask the Prophet, peace be upon him, many questions which were of no practical relevance to either religious or day-to-day affairs. Once, for instance, a person asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the presence of a crowd, "Who is my real father?" Likewise, many people used to ask unnecessary questions about legal matters. By these uncalled for inquiries, they sought knowledge of matters which had for good reasons been deliberately left undetermined by the lawgiver. In the Quran, for example, pilgrimage had been declared obligatory. A person who became aware of this came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and inquired, "Has it been made obligatory to perform it every year?" To this the Prophet, peace be upon him, made no reply. When he inquired for the second time, the Prophet, peace be upon him, again stayed silent. On being asked for the third time, he said, "Pity on you! Had I uttered yes in reply to your question, it would have become obligatory to perform it every year, and then you would not have been able to observe it, and would have been guilty of disobedience." The Prophet, peace be upon him, discouraged people from being over-inquisitive and unnecessarily curious about every question. We find in the Hadith the following saying from the Prophet, peace be upon him, "The worst criminal among the Muslims is the one who inquired about something which had not been made unlawful, and then it was declared so because of his inquiry." According to another tradition, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "God has imposed upon you certain obligations, do not neglect them. He has imposed certain prohibitions, do not violate them. He has imposed certain limits, do not even approach them, and he has remained silent about certain matters, and has not done so out of forgetfulness. Do not pursue them." In both these traditions, an important fact has been called to our attention. In matters where the lawgiver has chosen to lay down certain injunctions only broadly without any elaborate details or quantitative specifications, he has done so not because of neglect or forgetfulness. Such seeming omissions are deliberate, and the reason thereof is that he does not desire to place limitations upon people, but prefers to allow them latitude and ease in following his commandments. Now, there are some people who make unnecessary inquiries, cause elaborately prescribed, inflexibly determined, and restrictive regulations to be added to the law. Some others, in cases where such details are in no way deducible from the text, resort to analogical reasoning, thereby turning a broad general rule into an elaborate law full of restrictive details, and an unspecified into a specified rule. Both sorts of people put Muslims in great danger, for in the area of belief, the more detailed the doctrines to which people are required to subscribe, the more problematic it becomes to do so. Likewise, in legal matters, the greater the restriction, the greater the likelihood of violation.
قد سألها قوم من قبلكم ثم أصبحوا بها كافرين.
Indeed, some people before you had asked such questions and in consequence fell into unbelief. Indeed, some people before you had asked such questions and in consequence fell into unbelief. Some people first indulged in hair-splitting arguments about their laws and dogma, and thereby wove a great web of critical elaborations and legal minutiae. Then they became enmeshed in this same web and thus became guilty of dogmatic errors and the violation of their own religious laws. The people referred to here are the Jews and the Muslims who followed in their footsteps and left no stone unturned, despite the warnings contained in the Quran and in the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
ما جعل الله من بحيرة ولا سائبة ولا وصيلة ولا حام ولكن الذين كفروا يفترون على الله الكذب وأكثرهم لا يعقلون.
Allah has neither appointed cattle devoted to idols such as Bahira, Saiba, Wasila, nor Ham, but those who disbelieve forge lies against Allah, and of them most have no understanding, and therefore succumb to such superstitions. Bahira, Saiba, Wasila, nor Ham. Just as in the Indian subcontinent, cows, oxen, and goats are set free after being consecrated either to God or to some idol or shrine or to some saintly person, and just as people consider it prohibited either to put them to work, to slaughter them, or to derive any other kind of benefit from them, so the Arabs of the Jahiliyyah period also let loose certain animals after consecrating them. Such animals were variously named. Bahira was the name of a female camel which had already borne 5 young, the last of which was a male. The practice was to slit the ear of such a camel and then let her loose. Thereafter, no one could ride her, use her milk, slaughter her, or shear her hair. She was entitled to graze and drink water wherever she liked. Saiba was the name of either a male or female camel which had been let loose after consecration as a mark of gratitude in fulfillment of a vow taken for either the recovery from some ailment or delivery from some danger. In the same way, the female camel which had borne 10 times and each time a female was also let loose. Wasila. If the first kid born to a goat was a male, it was slaughtered in the name of the deities. But if it was a female, it was kept by the owners for themselves. If twins were born and one of them was a male and the other a female goat, the male was not slaughtered, but rather let loose in the name of the deities. This male goat was called Wasila. Ham. If the young of camels in the 2nd degree of descent had become worthy of riding, they were let loose. Likewise, if 10 offspring had been born by a female camel, she was also let loose and called Ham.
وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَإِلَى الرَّسُولِ قَالُوا حَسْبُنَا مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ.
When they are asked, "Come to what Allah has revealed, and come to the Messenger," they reply, "The way of our forefathers suffices us." Will they continue to follow their forefathers, even though their forefathers might have known nothing, and might have been on the wrong way?
Yeah.